Buoyancy control stands as one of the 3 fundamental pillars of scuba diving, and its significance cannot be overstated. Imagine buoyancy control as the core of diving, the vital force that drives every skill. It directly influences your air usage, physical effort, stability, and mastery of descents and ascents. Beyond that, it enhances your comfort and awareness, improving safety and enjoyment. Achieving changes in buoyancy should primarily rely on controlled breathing rather than depending on your BCD. Contrary to popular belief, the buoyancy compensator serves just 2 purposes in diving. Firstly, it aids divers in effortlessly floating at the surface at the beginning and end of a dive. Secondly, it's used underwater solely to offset the weight of the gas carried by the diver. It should never be used as a means to change position in the water column. The precise weighting of a diver is of utmost importance for achieving ideal neutral buoyancy. If a diver carries too much weight, they forfeits the capacity to use their lung volume effectively for natural depth control, leading to excessive reliance on the BCD. In healthy adults, lung capacity typically ranges from 4 to 6 liters and is directly related to body size. At complete rest, adults normally exchange approximately half a liter of air with each breath, which is about 10% of the total lung volume, and this exchange occurs within the range of 40 to 50% of your lung capacity, and this is considered shallow breathing. On the other hand, when taking a deep breath, you're reaching only about 80%, as you could still pack air on top of that, similar to what freedivers do. And upon completing a full exhalation, you will typically have around 20% remaining to prevent lung collapse. Halfway between deep inhale and exhale, you find your 50% lung volume. During diving, your choice of using the upper or lower percentages of your lung capacity depends on your specific objectives. As an illustration, to maintain neutral buoyancy without movements in the water column, aim to breathe within the 40 to 60% range of lung volume. If you wish to ascend slightly, adjust your breathing pattern to fall within the 60 to 80% range. Conversely, if a slight descent is your aim, alter your breathing pattern to fit within the 20 to 40% range. Let's explore 3 prevalent situations to gain insight into how you can employ your lungs to manage your depth changes during a dive. To begin, let's examine the proper technique for descending. As you're likely aware, every dive starts with the complete deflation of your BC and exhaling to about 20% of your lung capacity. However, as you descend, you should anticipate stopping before reaching your desired depth or the seabed if that's your intended destination. You must coordinate your breathing and manual buoyancy control simultaneously. This involves inhaling up to 80% to slow your descent. As you slow down, aim to maintain a 50% lung volume and add small bursts of air to your wing until you achieve neutral buoyancy. It's important to emphasize that using the inflator should never be the first method used to start depth adjustments. Instead, place your reliance on proper breathing techniques. For instance, if you intend to pass over an obstacle, avoid resorting to the inflator or swimming upwards. Instead, commence a gradual ascent by inhaling until you reach approximately 80% lung capacity, then engage in a controlled exhalation until you approach the 50% mark to maintain your newly established depth. If necessary, release some air from your BC to regain neutral buoyancy. To commence a descent, simply exhale until your lung capacity reaches around 20%. Once you've reached your desired depth, inhale to return to the 50% lung capacity mark, and then adjust your BC as needed to maintain neutral buoyancy. As illustrated in this example, both descent and ascent are initiated by your lungs, and BC adjustments are only made after reaching the desired depth, not the other way around. As you near the conclusion of your dive, initiate your ascent by controlled breathing just like it was previously outlined. Start by inhaling an appropriate amount to reach around 80%, which will kickstart your vertical movement and maintain your breathing cycle in the upper region of your total lung capacity until you arrive at your desired depth. Since you will likely need to cover a significant vertical distance to reach your initial stop, it is crucial to expel excess gas from your BC as you ascend and to maintain a safe ascent rate of no more than 10 meters per minute. Keep in mind that a slower ascent is preferable. Always remember to maintain correct trim position and avoid ascending in a head-up vertical posture. Assuming your weighting is correct, you shouldn't have any air left in your BC at this stage and be capable of holding your depth with your cylinder that only contains the reserve amount of gas. Just like honing any other skill, It's crucial to allocate dedicated practice time, especially when you're initially mastering a particular technique or skill. One of the most effective methods for refining your depth change through breath control is to engage in ascent and descent exercises using reference markers. One such drill entails setting up a vertical control line, which can be easily achieved by deploying your DSMB towards the end of your dive before ascending. Subsequently, attach a marker at a specific depth. This could be a cave marker, bolt snap, or any item that can be affixed to your line for reference. Then position yourself in a way that the marker is roughly at eye level and strive to maintain a stable hover in front of it. The objective is to remain as steady as possible, making minor adjustments as needed to counteract drifting caused by the given conditions. After a few breath cycles, ascend by 1 meter and attach a second marker to the control line to create another reference point. Once you've spent some time hovering at this depth, descend back to the bottom marker and repeat the exercise as many times as possible. Keep in mind that you should refrain from adjusting your BC during this exercise, as the goal is to internalize correct breathing patterns, enabling you to manage changes in depth solely with your lungs. Contrary to common belief, hovering is not a distinct skill that you must demonstrate on a particular dive, as some agencies may promote. Hovering is essentially a natural outcome of mastering effective buoyancy control. Once you have established a firm foundation in this aspect, whenever you pause during your dives, you will effortlessly hover. Therefore, rather than practicing hovering in ridiculous positions or other skills kneeling on the seabed, or experiencing erratic vertical movements, it is advisable to first refine your fundamental skills, making subsequent tasks considerably more manageable. Thanks for watching and hope you learned something. Consider subscribing to FlowState Divers to become part of the community of conscious divers and to get notified on our upcoming content.